Hello, welcome to Friday Night Live. I think we're up to number 9. Really excited to have you here this week. Just got to get a few things sorted here. Tonight we're going to be talking about what gear I use, and I'm absolutely surrounded by gear. I'm surprised when I pull it all out how much gear I actually do have. So let me just get this organised here so I can see your comments, and we'll go from there. We've got a few on already. Greg's here. Yes, thank you, Greg. The Christmas and New Year was fantastic. Didn't get a whole lot of detecting in, but it's family time. Rodney's been here for a few minutes, so g'day Rodney. So we just make sure you say hello. I get very lonely if no one's talking to me, so please say g'day. And at any stage on this, please ask any questions. It's about everyone. So lots of questions, please. That would be great. And yes, so Warren's here. G'day Warren, how are you? Ricky's here. Mick's here. G'day to the young guns again. Nicole's here. Nicole's in Claremont tonight. Hopefully you're giving that detector a good work over, Nicole. Rodney's making it. Henny's here. Hello, Henny. David and Nadia, how are you? Chris is here. Howdy, Chris. So let's just get straight into it. So my top 3. Yes, Brian's just noticed the background there. That's Surfers Paradise, the skyline of Surfers Paradise here. So it's a nice photo of that. Nicole's in tomorrow. I'll be in tomorrow too. And Josh is here. G'day Josh, how are you going? So, top 3 bits of my gear that I just couldn't do without. The first one's quite poignant, really, and that is these. I've got gear scattered everywhere, so excuse me if I'm backwards and forwards. First bit is, this is a bit funny because they're green and you can sort of see through me a little bit there, but snake gaiters. We had, unfortunately, in the last couple of days, we had a guy die in New South Wales from a brown snake bite, which is very, very sad. And it's been a long time since a brown snake in those sort of situations has actually knocked someone over. He wasn't too far from hospital, and yeah, it's very, very sad. But I actually heard, someone told me today that he was actually trying to get the snake off his dog had the snake, and he was trying to get the snake off the dog so the dog didn't get bitten. So, yeah, Chris has looked up, only 10 fatal snake bites since 1950. So, my number 1 bit of gear, particularly this week, is snake gaiters. Now, I like this Snake Protects brand. I'll put the link to all these things in the description afterwards. But Snake Protects, they're made for, and I think by, snake catchers and people who handle snakes all the time. So get a good pair. Don't skimp out on them. They're not cheap, but don't skimp out of them. Because quite often, so for instance, where I go prospecting, I'm sort of in the bush and I can be 20 minutes from the car. So if I'm 20 minutes from the car, then I'm with no mobile reception, then I'm 10 minutes to the highway where I get mobile reception, then it's 30 k's back to a main town. So even if I drive myself, I'm an hour away from any help. You would probably in that situation get to the highway, get phone reception and ring someone and try and meet them halfway or something or other. But I don't ever want to be in that situation. So that's my number one thing. Protect yourself. The other thing just to go with that, and something that I always carry in the bush particularly, I even carry it on me on the Gold Coast when I'm detecting on the beach, is a Snakebite Kit. And it's really, really simple. In there is just a non-stick gauze pad and a big long bandage. It's very, very simple. Know how to use it. So that's, I carry that on the Gold Coast. There's a lot of brown snakes in that, in the back of some of the dunes, and that's where you're going to get hit. So that's the other thing I always carry with me. I normally, it's in my bag, it's in everything I carry all the time. I don't even think about having to wear it. In fact, I've got two belts that I wear, and I've got one in each. So I never ever have to think about putting it in. So number 2 is my, and Brian makes a good point with the snakes, is you're not supposed to be moving anyway. So, you know, that's where a personal locator beacon can come in handy. But yes, so. Now, my number 2 is this one. It's a sand scoop. It's a long handle sand scoop. It makes life on the beach so much simpler. I don't sell these, and I don't sell those Snake Protect gaiters either. So you need to, you're best to get them online, or if you see them at a farm fest or one of those shows. But these long handle sand scoops are phenomenal on the beach. We touched on it last week, so I won't go in too far in depth. While we're talking about sand scoops, you can get long handled ones, get little short ones, and you can get just the hand scoop it is. So there's a big variety of sand scoops you can get. So that's a good idea. So, right, we got any questions there? We got anyone on? That's good. So we may as well go through all my top 3, and then I'll get into some other gear. So the other thing that I really, and this is a financial thing, is actually not the Pro Pointer, but one of these tethers. What this tether is, it's a heavy duty lanyard that you just attach to your Pro Pointer, and it's Kevlar. And I just clip that to my belt because I've actually lost 2 of these Pro Pointers in the bush. So, you know, you put it down, you go to use it next time, where was that? So that's one thing that I like to have. So it's fantastic, actually. I've never broken one. This is the original one I've had, and I've never ever broken one. So tonight, we'll put that aside because we'll go through that. Tonight, I'm giving away one of these tethers. Velcro strap on the top. They're made in the States. They're made Kevlar. They're phenomenal. So we're giving one of these away tonight. So you could, so the person that gives me the best suggestion when it comes to gear wins this. And I'm looking for a suggestion that makes me go, oh wow, I didn't think of that. So that's what I'm looking for. So keep those suggestions coming. So yes, g'day Benny, nice to see you here. Chris, yeah, gators. The problem with gators is they can be a bit hot, but yeah. So yep. George is here. Yeah, you could use those things for scooping out a dam. In fact, my wife actually used it the other day for sorting a bit of soil. She was planting something and she wanted to get rid of all the rocks. So that's another little use for it. So yeah. So that's my top three. Gators, to make sure you protect yourself, particularly when you're out in the bush. I like the PLBs, David, you're right. So tethers, and I love that sand scoop on the beach. So, Greg Allison, my wife, has got something to tell you. Oh, good. She's right beside me laughing at something. She's lost. Oh, don't worry. I spend half my time lost. Don't worry about that. Yeah, Warren makes a good have a good mate with you to carry you back to the four-wheel drive. Well, that's part of the reason I don't do a lot of prospecting far away from the car when I'm by myself. Like, you could end up miles from the car, and you really need, that's a two-person job, that one. So g'day Jeremy, how are you? Now, there's a couple of things here that I want to get to. The pouches for the, where's a pouch for the, this is a pouch, sorry, I'm just ripping the ear apart here. This is a pouch for a pinpointer, and what a lot of people do is they'll attach it to the shaft of the detector and put the pro pointer in it. I don't tend to like that as much, because I can still drop that, I can still put it down. These tethers means it is attached to you all the time. So I like that, but yeah. Anyway, first aid kit in your battery holder, Nadia, okay. And on the back of my harness, so it's with me all the time. Compass could be handy, yes. Brian, it could be. Brett's there with the wife and kids in tow. Got the iPad set up with your mug in the middle of the camp. That's good. That's good, Brett. I wish it was a better looking mug. Yes, Alison. Yes, that's completely right. Whenever I lose things, my beautiful, long-suffering wife is the first person I go to. So yes, right. GPS device, yeah. I actually use my phone because I don't really rely on it to get back to the car. Yeah, the kids using UHF's a good idea as well. So now, just there's a few comments there. So this is just this is really what I use for prospecting more than anything else. I got the nugget scoop, which is also green, so it doesn't show up against the screen. So the screen screws with that one. But so someone mentioned a knife. This is a little pack that I carry with me when I'm prospecting. In there, I've got a little loop, which is just a little magnifier if I need to look at anything in the bush. But someone mentioned a knife before. I actually find it better to carry a little Leatherman. The beauty of the Leatherman is if you need to tighten up something on your detector or pry something off, it's fantastic. So I've also got a bit of survival gear in there. I've got a fire starter. I've also got little fines pouches, spare lighter, compass, a little torch, which still works, which is fantastic. I put a lot of my vials and stuff in there. I've also got an emergency blanket in there, just in case I've got to spend the night in the bush. And there's I've got a little compass here, little compass signal mirror thing. It's supposed to have firelighters on it. It's got a little temperature gauge on it if I ever want to be that pathetic sort of thing. Just so you know, I might look a bit warm in here. That's because it is. According to this, it's close to 40 degrees in here today. So, gotta love the no airflow. And then that is what I normally carry in the bush. I got a water bottle in here. My snake bandage goes in here. My Pro Pointer clips on to the pouch, and so it's not banging around. It's got the Pro Pointer pouch there. So that's my, and it's also got a pouch here to put the pick in. So the pick just slides in there like that. So basically, that's how I gold prospect. If I'm going longer or it's much hotter, I will think about going to a Camelback or a hydration pack on my back. So yes. Okay. Beer, Brett. Always got to have a cold beer in the fridge for when you get back. Benny's right about a lot of water, and bungee to hold the weight of the detector, or have stronger forearms, Benny. Come on. You're not carrying one of these around, mate. It's not a big heavy machine. So, yes. Who else is here? Rodney's here. Yeah, Rodney, I reckon that the pinpoint is the best way to go. Peter's here. How you going, Peter? David, knee pads. I haven't ventured to knee pads yet. That's one thing I do have in the car, Nadia, is the toilet paper. You never know when you need to go. Benny's got a double tennis elbow. You'll let off then, Benny. No problems at all. So don't forget the best comment I'll send them one of these first thing Monday morning. For those that don't know, I'm Ben from Gold Diggers, or you've joined in late. Let me just put the titles back up there. And this is Friday Night Live, so we do this every Friday night. Normally we'll have, a lot of the times we'll have guests on. We get some of the YouTubers. Warren from NQ Explorers is a regular. Next week we've got an extra special person, so just to try to mix things up a little bit. But yes, so the next thing I want to talk about is digging tools. We've sort of touched on it a little bit with the sand scoop, but there's a lot of different digging tools. So for gold prospecting, we like to have a pick. Now a pick is actually a bit better than a spade because the ground tends to be fairly rocky. This is a CC pick. I love CC picks. They're made in Australia. I've had this one for a lot of years, and it's a fantastic pick. For those that haven't done much prospecting, you tend to be scraping rather than actually digging down into a hole. So you use the tip of the pick to loosen the ground up, and then you're dragging it back with the pick. There's bigger picks, there's shorter picks. There's a little pick that Garrett do, which surprisingly I don't have, which is an all metal one. I like the timber handle personally. I find that I don't get blisters as much with this for some reason. And a magnet on the tail of it. So if you're getting, I know a couple of guys that have been going out to Jurakai with the VLF machines. Are getting a lot of those, what are they called? Ironstone, which is this. It's very hard to see here, but ironstone, little bits of iron, and they're actually magnetic. So if you're getting a lot of false signals on them, you can just come in with your magnet and it will just pick them up and take them out of there, sort of thing. So that's the advantage of the magnet on the back of the thingo. A lot of them come with a magnet on this end, on the pick end, and it's very easy to attach. You just put the magnet there. The problem with that is you've got your pick by your side, and you tend to use it as an armrest. So it gets very, very irritating on the arm there. So I like to pick on the tail, and there you go. So that's picks. Now, so that's gold prospecting. That's beach we've already talked about. So then when we're talking about parks and other areas that are less rocky, I think it's important to, certainly with parks, dig a nice neat plug. And what I talk about is a plug, for those that don't know, is you find your target, and you want to be able to put the grass back exactly how you found it, so no one can tell that you've been there. So a lot of people dig a plug like this, right? And the beauty of a sharp digging tool like this is that you can actually, it's a hand tool, and you can actually go around, cut the grass, then lift the grass up so it folds over. It's easy to put it back. Then you can go in and get your target out. I don't do a lot of parks or digging deep like that. So, but a lot of people like this. Now, I'll just throw these up here on the screen. So this is another similar version to that one. This is an Australian-made one, made by Tiger Stainless Steel. Okay, so Tiger Stainless Steel make a range of these, but the best one, particularly if you've got dodgy knees, is this fella here. It's 800 tall, so it's just about the right length, and you can actually drive it in with your foot. That's the downside of these, is you can't actually put a much force into them. So if you've got some heavy ground, you're better off with these Tiger style. Sorry, there's the 800 one. Sorry, my apologies. So I actually like the look of these, and being Australian made, so I'll put the link up to these people again. Let me get out of the road here. But Tiger Stainless Steel, Australian made company. I like supporting the Australians as much as we possibly can. But that's them there. So yeah, they're a good company. So yes. So there's a digging tool for each environment. Even if you've got a machine, a multi-purpose machine like XP Deus that can go into any environment. AT Max is another one, even ATX. You're probably going to need a range of digging tools for you to successfully do things properly. So, right, so who else is here? Ben, Brian's here. Steve are going to start getting into it. What's a good beginner's detector? What's a $500 detector going to get me? Yes, Brian's got a good quality walking stick. I've got one of those. That thing there. I tend to want my other hand free. Oh, hang on, Josh. I use a bobby pin clipped through my headphones on my collar, keeps the cord out of the way of everything. Oh, Josh, that's very clever. See, that's the sort of thing that I was talking about. Nice work, Josh. You haven't won yet. There could be a better suggestion, but Josh is certainly in the running for the prize. That's a very clever little tip. That. Henny, yeah, sweat rag. That's not a bad idea. Oh, Benny's a bit sensitive by the look of things. He needs a balaclava to hide the shame when detecting in parks. Yes, Nadia, you do need to be a bit careful with those hot rocks. That's a good point here. That a lot of these hot rocks are just that. They're just highly mineralised rocks. But you do need to be careful. If you get one that's a bit odd looking, it's worthwhile hitting it with a hammer and making sure there's not gold in it. So that you've got to be a bit careful with that. So I don't tend to do that a lot, but maybe I should, Nadia. That's actually a good tip as well. Rodney, I can recommend those Tiger ones if you wanted a long handle one. The little Garrett Edge Digger is actually not a bad handheld one. It's a pretty good one. It's a good solid one. But yeah, so that's worthwhile. So yeah, Warren makes a good point there. There's a lot of gold around Claremont, fully coated in ironstone. So Warren takes all the rocks home in his pouch. So and all his fines and horseshoes, and you know, he's got a shed full of gear, haven't you, Warren? So right. So feel free to jump in with any questions. For those that don't know, I'm Ben from Gold Diggers. G'day, Trevor. Nice to see you here at long last. I know you've been watching and commenting after the show. Someone thinks I need a towel. I've got let me have a drink of water first. It's very warm in here. There's the wind's dropped off here at Browns Plains. Just excuse me. I will get a towel here. It's a bit damp. I'm a bit damp. So, but yes. So it's all right. I'll survive it. So, right. So what other gear do I use? This is a very important piece of gear. Simple headlamp, particularly at night, and I don't think you want to. I don't think you want anything too bright. You don't want a spotlight, but a good little reliable headlamp is fantastic. So that would be another little thing I've got there. So, okay. So the other thing, which I have forgotten, is pans. There's two pans I absolutely love, and they are that pan there and that pan there. So these pans I use all the time. This is the Super Sleuth pan from Garrett. It's green, so you can't really see it that clearly. The Super Sleuth pan has got big giant riffles. You can just make it out, I believe, on the video there. So it's got big giant riffles in it, and the beauty of that is you can process a lot of material very, very quickly with that. The other pan I like is this one. This is the new trap pan. That's a terrible photo of it. Sorry about that. I've forgotten that everything green shows up as see-through. So it's an offset pan. You can see it's wider up the top here than what it is down the bottom here, and it makes dealing with the fines much, much easier. So they're good pans. So, anyone got any tips? Greg's got some tips here. Big Doug, take a roll of ribbon, tie it on a branch of sticks. It's easy to get lost when wandering around mindless around a scrub, yes. But you've got to go back and get it all, unless it's biodegradable, Greg. I think you can get biodegradable trail markers, which are, you know, phenomenal. So that's a great idea. What else have we got here? Fluoro zip tie markers. Yeah, George, you just have to watch the biodegradable, or you'd have to go and pick them all up, I'm afraid. Thanks, Josh. That's a very nice compliment. G'day, Michael. How you going? Angela's here. How are we going? So, I keep getting people asking me what machines I use and what we would suggest. We're going to get to those couple of questions about the starter machines, what you can get for $500, what you can get for $1,000 in just a moment. But let me, AeroGuard's a great example too, Rodney. So, let me show you the machines that I use, and I use every day, or every time I go detecting. The machine I use the most, by far and away, is, as many of you know, the AT Max. It's very, very versatile. So I love the AT Max. It's probably my go-to machine. I had to duck out quickly to see if I could find a ring for a lady today, and this is the machine I pulled out of the car. You don't even need to think about it, you turn it on, away you go. So the AT Max is probably my go-to machine. Its competitor for me is this. And really, this is the XP Deus machine. The beauty of the XP Deus machine is it's upgradable all the time. So I love that. So it's very, very light. I haven't spent enough time with it yet to get to know it, but I do like, it folds up small, it's put a stack of different coils on it. It's a fantastic machine. It's twice the price, or not quite twice the price. You can buy that for $1,900, where the AT Max is $1,250-ish, $1,300. So, yes, I will. Warren asked a good question. While we've got the Deus sitting here, okay? So, we had a question, and we didn't quite understand it properly the first time round. So, the XP Deus is a wireless machine. So, this bit isn't connected to anything. It all works wirelessly, as is the coil. The coil's not connected to anything. In fact, the battery for the coil is here. So when you charge this machine, you actually charge the coil and the handset and headphones if you've got it. So with Wi-Fi, it all talks to each other via Wi-Fi. This machine, in its standard format, doesn't actually work underwater. Because the Wi-Fi, this section, the control box, can't talk to the coil through water. So what Deus do is they sell a kit for about, I'd have to double check the price, it's $99 or $129, that springs into the head. And what it comes with is a waterproof cover for the control box that still clips onto the machine as per normal. So it clips onto the machine as normal, and then there is a wire that actually clips onto the coil and runs up the shaft and it actually doesn't plug into the control box. It just runs up close to the control box, and that's how it gets the signal when you're using it underwater. So there are some limitations with this machine running it underwater. So that's just something we actually misread the question first time round. So, but that's could be my favourite machine if it wasn't for the Max. So, so that's the Deus. When I'm gold prospecting, again, this is a bit green, so it might not show up. I use this. This is the ATX. It's a pulse induction machine. Phenomenal machine. My personal belief, and a lot of people disagree with me on this, but if you put the 8-inch monocoil on this, it gives you similar sorts of results to some of the Minelab machines. And with this big, this is the big mono, the big monocoil. It is a phenomenal machine. So that's my go-to gold prospecting machine. I tend not to like to use VLF machines out in the gold fields. Although the Max is very good out there, I haven't taken the Deus out in the gold fields, but this is the machine I use 99% of the time. So that's a phenomenal machine. Folds up small, easy to travel with, phenomenal. Now, there's one more machine that I use, and it is an amazing machine. It's an old machine. They're not even, I think we can get them for you, but they're not even available readily in Australia anymore. And that's a Garrett Infinium. Now, this is actually a modified Garrett Infinium. I've put a shaft on it very, very similar to what the shafts that the Infiniums came out with were great in the water, but they were pretty ordinary on land. They got a lot of wobble in it. But this Infinium is phenomenal in the beach. Pulse induction works really, really well on the beach. It's just quiet until you come across a target, then it's a bit like bang, there's the target. So, and also, it's got sand all over it because I've been using it. And also, the control box is belt mounted. So, just a fantastic machine on the beach, but not available so much anymore. There's a couple of flaws with it, like the shaft, the original shaft that it came with, but just a proper beach machine, waterproof to 60 metres. I can use it underwater, no problems at all. So they're the 4 machines that I use on a regular basis. So, and then that pouch, because it's belt mounted, that pouch has got my Snakebite Kit in it. I drop a bottle of water in it, and I just clip the Pro Pointer. I clip the Pro Pointer to whichever pouch I'm using, sort of thing. So I don't have 2 Pro Pointers or anything like that. So, who else have we got here? Angela, paddle pop stick markers are kinder. Yes, they're probably a bit more biodegradable than cable ties, that's for sure. Rodney, AeroGuard, yes. And it's a very, very good point. AeroGuard or Bushman's are one of those. Particularly when you're out gold prospecting in that dry country, there tends to be a lot of ticks, and it's the ticks that worry me. So I'll tell you a little story about ticks. I went out to Warwick there in the spring. I came back, and normally I just take my gear off, put it in the washing machine, and away I go and have a shower before I do anything. Well, I worked out how I did it. I actually didn't have any AeroGuard, didn't have any Bushmans on me, and I jumped back in the car, happy days, got back home, got out of the car, washed my clothes, made sure there was no more rubbish on me, because I've got a wife and my son was probably, he might have been 12 months old at that stage. Well, the next day, 3 or 4 days later, the young bloke, I had to take him to childcare, and we had a bit of a run around the car a couple of times, and lo and behold, that night he had a tick on him. So here's my, so here I am with my young bloke at 12 months old with a tick on him, because because I've been out in the bush all day and not cleaned up properly. So you have to use something like that to keep those ticks off him. So off me and out of my car. So now I spray my car before I get out of the car, and I make sure I give myself a dose every time I come back to the car, just so I'm not bringing anything home. So my wife wasn't terribly happy about that, so I had to beg for forgiveness. So anyway, so right, let's get back to some of these comments. Let's have a look here. So yes, Ricky, that's not a bad one either. When working in parks, wear fluoro shirts. I don't know about the council detecting for sharps, but whatever works for you, Ricky. But it's not a bad idea. G'day Brody, how are you tonight? Love the AT Pro, it's my go-to machine. Turned on and start smashing coins. Yep, it's a phenomenal machine. Yeah, the AT Pro is the best. Turn it on and go professional level machine. Like, it is there's just no settings, just turn it on and go. Like, the Max is good, but you have to play with a little bit more of the settings. But the Pro, it's just a turn on and go job. So, yes. Yeah, Michael had 2 crawling up his gators last week. Yep, they are everywhere at Warwick. Don't worry about that. Yes. Right, so just a little bit of a recap in case you've joined us late. I'm Ben from Gold Diggers. We do this every Friday night. Tonight we're talking about gear, what gear I use. We're looking for the best tip. We've had 2 cracking tips, and whoever gets the most, the best one that I go, the best one that I go, oh wow, I never thought of that, I'll send this out to them on Monday. So that's that. Now, just as a bit of a special for those people who don't win it, there's 3 versions of this, 3 different tops on it, all available on our website. They're normally $39.99. I've just specialed them down. I've taken $10 off them just for the weekend. So now you can pick these up for $30, just above cost price. So if you want one, this weekend's probably the best time to get them. Now, Rodney, a good hat is great. I've stopped wearing caps in the bush. For one thing, the ticks tend to get down the back of my shirt. They fall off the trees if you're brushing through the bush. But I spent a lot of time bending down, and I was getting sunburn on the back of my neck. So I wear a straw cowboy hat. I love them. They're just nice and cool. And someone mentioned sunscreen earlier. Yep, very, very important. And I can't stress enough water. It's hot here. It can get really hot out in the bush, and yes, so that's the most important thing. And nice cold drinks if you can. Chuck a bag of ice in the esky, or if you're running a fridge. Like, my fridge is always half filled with water, so the night before I turn it on, and by the time I get out there, I've got nice cold water. So, right. A couple of questions about that we had earlier about the best detectors for a couple of values. Okay, so I'm going to the 2 values that were mentioned were $500 and $1,000. Okay, so I'm going to stretch the friendship on both of those things. So the best turn on, the best turn on and go professional level machine is an AT Pro. You can buy a AT Pro now for about just over $1,000 they are. So it's 1,080 or 1,050, something like that. So AT Pro, waterproof to 3 metres, very simple to use, good resale value on them. So that is one thing that I would suggest. The other thing, and I've just done a special on this as well, this is my second special for the night, the Ace 400. I've just specialed that down. They're normally $649. I've specialed that down just tonight to $580 on the website. So it is basically an AT Pro without the ground balance on it. Not waterproof. The control box not waterproof, and there's a number of differences. But the Ace 400 is a phenomenal starting machine. It's a special price just for this weekend. $580 we'll do it for. Should be the cheapest price by far and away on that Ace 400. I had a look before we got on tonight, before I specialed it. So, and the tethers, of course, at $30. They're on special for this weekend. So, so those two things. Robin ended up getting the Hubby MindLab 705 for Christmas after watching you guys. Picked it up with a bargain with an extra call of Boxing Day. Sweet, Robin. That's a great machine. That's a very similar machine, Ace 400, around that sort of, maybe a bit more expensive than that, but it's a great machine. You won't go wrong with the 705, that's for sure. The Ace 400 is a replacement to the Ace 350, but it's dramatically better. The old Aces didn't have a number, a target ID number. They just gave you a sliding scale, and it told you what the target was on the sliding scale. So the Ace 400 is actually, like the Pro, like the Max, like the Gold, has got the target ID number, which helps to differentiate between targets. So it's a phenomenal machine. So right, who else have we got here? G'day, David. Big magnet in a shopping bag to pick up the rust. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Mosquito head net, certainly in WA, when the flies are really bad, the head nets are phenomenal, Victor. If you give, yeah, Greg makes a good point. Make sure your car's good. You're going out in the bush. You're you don't want to be breaking down in the middle of nowhere and having to very expensive tow, and it can be dangerous. The other thing is to make sure you let someone know. So I've got a standard thing with my wife. I'll say, right, I'll be out of the bush at 4 o'clock. I'll give you a ring when I'm back, and make sure I'm out of the bush with phone reception. So at 4 o'clock I can give her a ring. The last thing I want is her worrying about me being out in the bush. So yes, Rodney's got the 200i going well with his head. It's a good machine too. All those Ace machines, they're the world's biggest selling metal detectors, so they're all phenomenal. So glove and glove clips are all for us. Clip our belts, clip onto our belts to use while pressing. Don't know what's around the bush when your hands are on the ground. Yeah, Brett, let me know how you go with that, because I tend to lose a bit of touch, but yeah. G'day Jody, how are you? New to detecting, got the Pro for the your birthday, phenomenal machine, you can't go wrong with that. V sheet on you, if you like walking the best, high fluoro sheet, says Brian. Double-sided Velcro strips, Henny, that's not a bad one. So, yes, so, right. Right, anyone got any more questions? We're running to 40, 50 minutes here. I think I've gone through all the gear I have. It's not all the gear I have, but I think that's all the gear. Oh, there is one thing I want to show you. This is, let me get rid of that machine. This is something that I use in a couple of different ways. So, I keep all of my GPS waypoints and they sit with me on one of these. On the passenger side of the car, it's just an old iPad, nothing special. And on that, I've got the live satellite maps for the area that I'm going into. Now, this unit has all my current waypoints on it, so I can see it as I'm driving along in the bush. Then I also have it on my phone if I do need to add a waypoint as I'm out in the bush. So I'll have my phone in my pocket. If there's a waypoint I like, I'll put the waypoint in. When I come back, everything will sync up between the iPad, between the phone, and the online version. So let me just bring up this. I do need to get that out of the road, and let's get rid of that so you can see the screen clearly. So this is all my waypoints. Let me zoom in here. So you can see the Right, we should be back. So I love those. We almost got, how far did we get in? 50 minutes? 52 minutes before I mucked it up. So I need to work on that dramatically. So, okay, so those three things link up. My phone, my iPad, and my computer all link up. So, so that makes it very, very easy to manage my waypoints in the bush. And as I'm driving along, I can overlay all of the maps, all of the geological maps, the faults, the waypoint satellite maps, and I can have that scrolling along as I drive through the bush. So that's a phenomenal little tip. So, okay, so yes, I apologise everyone. I almost made it through. It wouldn't be Friday Night Live without me mucking something up, surely. So. Benny makes a good point here. Non-steel cap boots. There's a lot of people that detected their boots over the years. So, yes. Yeah, David, I don't do it. Seriously, I am trying my hardest not to have that noise. I think ever since I've come into the back of the shop here, into the studio, I think I've mucked that noise up every single week. So. My apologies. I am getting quicker at turning it off though, so I'm not using it to see who's listening or who's not. So, okay, so any questions that we have here? Let's have a quick look here. We'll see if we've got any questions, and then we might draw our prize here. And I believe that the best tip we had tonight was from, I think it was Justin with was it Justin or yeah, I've missed a number of these posts here. Jeremy, cut a water bottle in half, attach it to your belt for bottle caps and small trash. That's another good idea. So the winner is, I'm just scrolling back through here to get the winner, and it was an early one. I think it was Joshua with Josh. Did you make the notice about the clip on your collar for the headphone, keep the headphone coil out of the road? I think that was you, Josh. I will double check it. Yeah, I think it was. I'm almost sure it was Josh, but I'll scroll back through. Whoever made that comment about the clip on the collar for you to keep the cord out of the road, that's very, very clever. Josh with the bobby pin, that's who we're looking for. So I will go through. Josh, I'll contact you after the show and I'll send you out a tether. And don't forget that the tethers are on special for this weekend only for $30. So, right, Victor, using the SDC 2200 on the beach. Yeah, it's in that highly mineralised ground, whether you're talking the beach or whether you're talking out in the goldfields, pulse induction machine will beat anything by far and away. The downside of pulse induction machines, they're more expensive. It's as simple as that. So, yes. Right, so we might call it quits there tonight. I've got to have about 4 litres of water because it's been very, very warm in here tonight. Thank you all for joining me tonight. To the guys that are having a detect this weekend, have a great weekend. I hope you have a lot of great finds. Just a bit of an update on next week. Next week we have a special guest. We've got Craig on next week. He'll be sitting here with me in the studio. He runs a Facebook forum called Aussie Metal Detecting. Very, very good group. It's probably one of the best groups around, simply because it's moderated very hard. There's not a lot of swearing. It's a very good group. It's probably one of the better ones in Australia. Attached to that as well is Metal Detecting and Prospecting Gear Australia. It's a buy, sell, swap page. Again, a good page. And the most important thing, he is mad keen about World War II sites. So we're going to quiz him about a lot of that stuff. He's going to bring along a heap of interesting finds. He's just recently added another mortar tail to his collection. How that? Anyway, so he's got he's bringing mortar tails, he's bringing all sorts of other gear in. So he'll have lots of interesting finds. He's also bringing in his CTX 3030. He's a mad keen 3030 user, so we'll get lots of tips on that as well. Anyway, good night. Thanks very much. Good night.